about democracy itself. This is not just another political drama. It is a battle between free speech and executive overreach, between one of America's most iconic comedians and the former president who once called her a pig. Welcome to the story of Rosie O'Donnell versus Donald Trump, a feud that began decades ago and has now reached a boiling point. Back in 2006, long before Truth Social and TikTok, Rosie O'Donnell, then co-host of The View, took aim at Donald Trump. She called him a snake oil salesman and said he went bankrupt. He denied it, and that was just the beginning. What started as a clash of personalities soon became a full-blown rivalry. But this time, it is not just words. It's about citizenship, about power, and about the limits of authority. On Saturday morning, July 13, 2024, just hours after Trump survived an assassination attempt in Pennsylvania, he made a shocking post on his favorite platform, Truth Social. Trump's post because of the fact that Rosie O'Donnell is not in the best interests of our great country. I am giving serious consideration to taking away her citizenship. She is a threat to humanity and should remain in the wonderful country of Ireland if they want her. God bless America. That's right. The 45th President of the United States threatened to revoke the citizenship of a woman born and raised in New York. Cut to legal expert Steve Vladeck speaking in a courtroom style setting, but here's the twist. He cannot do that. Legal experts like Steve Vladeck, CNN Supreme Court analyst and Georgetown law professor, were quick to respond. Trump's threat of coercive expatriation is patently unconstitutional. Vladeck wrote, for good reasons, it is difficult to denaturalize a U.S. citizen and even harder to expatriate one. Congress has provided only a handful of circumstances in which executive branch is empowered to pursue such a move, and the Supreme Court has recognized meaningful constitutional limits. So why would a man with no legal power to revoke citizenship even suggest it? To understand this, we have to go back to January 2021, the day after Trump's second inauguration. Rosie O'Donnell, American-born and proud, decided to leave the country she once called home. She moved to Ireland permanently. Why? She told CNN, I knew after reading Project 2025 that if Trump got in, it was time for me and my non-binary child to leave the country. I have no regrets. Not a day has gone by that I thought it was the wrong decision. I was welcomed with open arms. Project 2025, a conservative policy blueprint, had convinced her that life under a potential Trump presidency would not be safe for her or her family. Meanwhile, back in the US, Trump was still running his brand, still making headlines, and still targeting critics. And Rosie O'Donnell, well, she never stopped speaking out. In a viral TikTok post, she slammed the administration's response to the deadly Texas floods, accusing them of gutting early warning systems and weather forecasting capabilities. This is not America, she said. This is not democracy. It was a direct hit, and Trump did not take it lightly. When Trump posted his infamous Truth Social message, Rosie didn't hold back. Her response on Instagram was pure fire. You want to revoke my citizenship? Go ahead and try. King Joffrey with a tangerine spray tan. I am not yours to silence. I never was King Joffrey, a reference to the sadistic ruler from Game of Thrones. A perfect metaphor for a man who thinks he rules everything. On Sunday, Rosie went even further, this time on Irish radio. She told RTE Radio 1, I am very proud to be opposed to every single thing he says, and does, and represents. I think he is a racist, and he is misogynistic, and he is sexist. Then came the kicker. He should not be allowed to be doing what he is to immigrants in the United States, without due process. But he is doing it anyway. This is not America. This is not democracy. She knows the law. She knows the Constitution. But she also knows something else. Trump does not care about the law. He cares about attention, power, control. And right now, he is using all three to make a statement. Let's rewind again way back to 2006. O'Donnell called Trump a snake oil salesman. He called her a loser. The insults kept coming. Over the years, they have traded barbs like politicians trade policies. He has called her crude, rude, obnoxious, and dumb. She's called him a threat to humanity now. The stakes are higher than ever. While Rosie speaks, I know he cannot do that, she said, but the Supreme Court has given him unbridled powers, and who knows what he can and cannot do. There is fear in her voice. Fear that maybe, just maybe, there are no checks left on the man who once held the highest office in the land. Legally, there is no question. The 14th Amendment, ratified in 1868, guarantees citizenship to anyone born in the United States. Rosie O'Donnell, born in Comic, New York, is a U.S. citizen, period. Yet, Trump continues to treat her like a foreign national, like someone who owes him loyalty. And that is the real issue here. Not just the legality, but the message. If the President of the United States can threaten to revoke the citizenship of a critic, what does that say about the rest of us? Millions of Americans, immigrants, activists, journalists, artists live in fear of what might happen if Trump returns to power. They watch this showdown not just as entertainment, but as a warning. The media exploded with questions. Can the president legally revoke citizenship? Is this a new form of political punishment? What happens next? Experts agreed on one thing. This is unprecedented. unprecedented, but in today's climate, nothing seems impossible. Imagine this: a courtroom, two sides, one arguing for free speech, the other for executive power, the judge, the Constitution. But in a world where truth is often blurred and facts are questioned, where does that leave us? Just hours before Trump's controversial post, he was in Pennsylvania at a campaign rally when he was shot and injured, a moment that changed the course of the 2024 election, a moment that brought the entire nation to a standstill. And yet, just 24 hours later, he returned to the spotlight not with empathy or reflection, but with bluster and bravado. Both born in New York, both shaped by America, but their views couldn't be more different. One sees America as a beacon of hope, the other sees it as a battlefield. One fights for justice, the other fights for control. And now, they are locked in a war of words, with the fate of American values hanging in the balance. This is more than a feud. It is a mirror. It reflects the deep divides in our country, the clash between free speech and authoritarianism, between love of country and fear of change. And it raises a question that everyone must ask themselves: who gets to define what it means to be American? Rosie O'Donnell isn't backing down. She knows the law, she knows the risks, but she also knows something else. I am not yours to silence. I never was, and now, the world is watching. Want to see how this story unfolds? Want to know what happens next in this high-stakes showdown between two titans of American culture? Tap here to watch the full doc-style episode of Citizenship or Chaos, and stay in the loop on the most explosive political drama of 2024. Do not miss a beat, because in America today the lines are blurring, and the drama is just getting started.